What's up, guys, gals, and gamers? It's Ryuji, and I'm bringing you some more Tekken Rev love as I talk to you about some gaming news that happened recently. First off, I want to take a little moment to pay some respects to one of the former presidents of Nintendo. Hiroshi Yamauchi has died today, unfortunately. He was 85 as of today, and he's no longer of this mortal coil. The guy was he was the first president of Nintendo since 1949 up until 2002, so that was about 53 years. But the reason why this guy is so important, not just because he was the first president of Nintendo, but he basically was the guy responsible for saving the video game industry back in the 1980s. When video games first came out, they were just some thing that nerds would do in their spare time in their closets or whatever. But because of Nintendo stepping up from being just this simple company that would make card games and children's toys to making iconic video game characters such as Donkey Kong and Mario, he basically resurrected the video game industry. And you guys wouldn't be able to play any video games these days if it wasn't for him, so major props to him. Another cool thing about him was back in '92, he bought some stock in the Seattle Mariners, which is interesting. They were going through some troubles and they were about to be relocated to Florida. So he basically said, alright, I'm going to buy some stock. You guys do what you will with it, just as long as y'all keep doing what you're doing. And I thought that was cool. The weird thing, though, is that he never attended one of their games. But I don't know. It was just a kind gesture that I should mention. Also, the dude was worth at least $2.1 billion before he died. So, yeah. Guy was very successful. But as they say, you can't take it with you. So, may you forever rest in peace. Okay, in non-depressing news, Sony decided to reverse their stance on their video game capture stuff. First of all, for those of you who do any YouTube stuff with your PlayStation 3s, you'll already know that the PlayStation 3 is not able to capture game footage off of its HDMI port, so you have to do it through a composite cable. So we were a little bit depressed when we found out that the PlayStation 4 will come with just an HDMI cable and no composite cable whatsoever. And we were even more depressed when it turns out that the guys at Sony had said that basically they won't allow any HDMI capturing for stuff to be posted on YouTube. You basically had to do it through their share function, which a lot of people were kind of upset about. Especially the guys who make most of their living doing game captures off of their systems and their consoles. But recently they announced that it won't be available at launch, but you will be able to hook up a game capture card or some other capturing hardware to your PlayStation 4 via your HDMI cable port. So that's good news, which means that if I decide to continue doing this thing and I eventually do get a PlayStation 4, we'll be seeing some PlayStation 4 Let's Plays of me playing video games, which is awesome. Speaking of video games, these next two things are about video games that are currently in development and need a little bit of money. Well, I say they need a bit of money because they're in Kickstarter, but really, if you think about their success so far, they don't need it at all. But it would still be nice if you gave out what money you could. For those of you who saw my other report on it, basically the game Mighty Number 9 that is being created by Keiji Inafune, formerly of Capcom, has raised enough money so that it can be able to make the game. Now currently they're trying to gather up whatever extra cash that they can get through this Kickstarter while they still have time, so they can achieve some of their stretch goals. But happily, one of the stretch goals that I really wanted them to achieve was that they raise enough money to be able to release this game on consoles. Yay! Yes. Basically, they were able to reach their stretch goal of $2.2 million. So now, when this game comes out, which will probably be in 2014, I'll put a link in the description to their Kickstarter page so you can get all the details. But when it comes out in 2014, we'll be able to get a PS3, 360, and Wii U version of the game, so we can play it on our consoles. Yay! Now, last time I checked, these guys were at a little over 2.3 million, and their next stretch goals is 2.4 million, and that includes a new mode to play. After that, you've got an extra stage and an extra boss to fight at the end, and then after that, online co-op and challenge mode, which is going to be cool. And they got a couple other mystery ones, but one more stretch goal that I noticed, which was probably going to be a little bit harder to achieve with whatever time they have left, but basically it's another instance of console releases where they'll be able to release it on the PS4 and the Xbox One. But yeah, people are showing massive support for this thing, and I love it when developers decide to take this route, especially smaller developer teams, because not only does this give me like direct input into funding this game and guaranteeing that I have a copy when it's all done, but the way that these guys are going at it, which is another thing that I love, is that you get direct input on what they do when they develop the game. They have planned contests where you could help them design one of the enemies or bosses, and for certain backers they have it where you can design an actual one of the mighty number bosses, and that's always cool. Now, speaking of Kickstarter, I'm sure you guys are familiar with WayForward, as you've probably seen my DuckTales play with my sister Nefsa. But yeah, the game DuckTales with the HD remake that they've done, it's super incredible. But now the team at WayForward is up to something new, and according to their Kickstarter site, yes, they started another Kickstarter for this one. It's called Shantae, Half Genie Hero. I'm hoping I pronounced that right. But anyway, this game looks to be shaping up pretty awesome. It's another platformer, and since it's being done by WayForward, it's going to be 2D HD sprites, which are going to be looking absolutely beautiful. And by looking at the cast and the pictures and everything that they've got on their Kickstarter page, it looks like that whatever team that they used to make the HD remake of DuckTales, they're making for this game too, which means the sprites are going to be beautiful, the backgrounds are going to be beautiful, and of course the music will be done by Jake Kaufman, also known as Vert, which means the soundtrack's going to be awesome. So yeah, currently they're at $351,000, a little over that amount, and their goal is $400,000. So they're almost there, and they got about 14 more days to go as I'm recording this. So definitely, if you have any time and extra cash and you want to give to these guys, or if you want to give to Keiji's team over at Concept and donate to those guys while you still can, then go ahead and do so. Hopefully I'll have had some kind of cash on my person to try and donate to those guys. So that would be something to look forward to, because good games are awesome, but games that definitely have heart and passion and soul in them, like these games that are developed by these guys, you know it's going to be a good time. So definitely check those out when you can. Now, last news that we're bringing up is also game related somewhat, but it's also right up my alley because it has to deal with anime as well. Bayonetta is apparently getting an anime movie. I know, right? Freaking awesome. Or freaking weird, however you interpret that. But anyway, the name of the movie is called Bayonetta Bloody Fate, and it's going to be released in Japan in November of this year. Now, the cool thing about it is that it's also being made by Studio Gonzo. Now, if you don't know Studio Gonzo, to give you a little introspect and the stuff they've worked on Afro Samurai, they've worked on Hellsing, and I'm pretty sure that they worked on the X-Men anime with Wolverine. Don't quote me on that, I'll confirm that later, and if I do, I will correct myself. But, yes, Bayonetta is getting an anime, which means if you wanted to oogle at her while she does her stuff without holding a controller at the same time and getting distracted, you will be able to. Personally, I liked Bayonetta, the video game. A little sad that I can't play Bayonetta 2 yet because I don't have a Wii U, and they haven't made a version of it available on my console that I own, a PlayStation 3. But, as a person who plays video games, especially action, adventure, hack and slash, and as a person who likes anime, this looks like something that'd be right up my alley. I'll put a link to the trailer as well at the bottom of the description. Okay, that's about all the time I got. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. You know what? I think I might pick a specific time and date for when I do these news updates. Yeah, it might be like a weekly thing. It might be a semi-annual thing. I might do it bi-weekly. Or I just might end up doing it whenever interesting news pops up. But anyway, when it does happen, hopefully you'll be there to watch it. So, thanks again for tuning in. If you like what you saw, or like what you heard, rather, like, comment at the bottom, fave, subscribe, hit that subscribe button. But yeah, thanks for watching, and have a good day and a better tomorrow.